Developing off the top at 6:30, huge flames, thick black smoke after 3 people are killed in a small plane crash in Fort Lauderdale.
And you are looking live at the charred aftermath of that crash. The plane erupting in flames in a parking lot, and the fire destroying about a dozen cars. That plane taking off from nearby Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport.
Well, it was a short time later that witnesses saw this plane fall out of the sky, and there was a big explosion and a huge fireball, as you saw there. 7's Alex DePrado has been on the scene. Alex has an update. Alex?
Lynn, again, we have 3 people dead here, and 7 News has just confirmed the victims are part of Avionics Engineering. They are the founder, his son, who was set to get married next week, as well as the test pilot. My colleague, 7 News' Robin Simmons, just confirmed that information. Those people are based out of that company, Avionics Engineering, which is based at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood Executive Airport. I want to bring in right now eBay Davis, who was in this area when you saw this plane, as you said, go across these trees here and then crash, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell me what you saw, sir.
Well, basically what I saw, well, first I heard the plane, the engine was fluctuating, so that's what made me look up to see what was going on. And then I saw as the plane was turning back here, I guess trying to get back to the airport. And when I saw it turning, the wings ended up going straight up and down, and then it landed at a curve. It hit the building at a curve.
There was no way this pilot could recover.
No way. No way at all. I thought he would have probably been able to, but the plane was too low and it happened so fast.
And as you're talking to us, we're looking at video from right after this plane crashed. The plane, we've heard from other witnesses, came down intact and then burst into a fireball.
Yes, it did.
Talk to us about how it looked. Did it land on the cars there?
Well, when I got there, that's what it looked like happened, because I ran from all the way over here to back there, and that's basically what it looked like happened. Everything was on fire. A couple of cars started catching on fire. People was trying to get the trucks and everything out the yard. And then the police officers started pulling everybody back away because the fire started getting really intense.
Was there anybody outside, as you could see when you first arrived there at the scene?
There were a couple of people outside already trying to move their cars out of the lot and everything because of the fire. And then the police officers pulled up and the fire crew pulled up afterwards.
In terms of flights often come across these warehouses, correct?
Yes.
And how high are they usually?
A lot higher than that plane. A whole lot higher than that plane.
So it looked to you there was a big problem?
Yes.
Even before it went on its side?
Yes. Because from when I was hearing the plane having problems, that's what made me look up. I was like, because you could hear the engine going, and then I looked up, and then I saw the plane, like, I guess, trying to make it around, but it just didn't happen.
And there was clearly an engine issue from what you were able to hear on the ground?
Yeah.
What would it sound like?
It just it's like, you know, like when the engine's like stalling, that's the sound it was making.
Thank you. eBay Davis, who was in this area when this plane crashed around during the 4 o'clock hour this afternoon. Again, we have 3 people who have died. The plane had taken off from Fort Lauderdale Hollywood Executive Airport this afternoon. And again, 7 News has confirmed, my colleague Robin Simmons has confirmed, the 3 people are part of Avionics Engineering, which is based out of Fort Lauderdale Hollywood Executive Airport. They are the founder of that company. His son, tragically, who was supposed to get married next week, as well as a test pilot. As we get more details throughout the evening here on 7, we will bring them to you. We are live in Fort Lauderdale. I'm Alex DePrado, 7 News.
How sad. All right, Alex. Our team coverage continues now with 7's Vanessa Medina. She's also live in the scene, a different part there of the scene, with new information about the pilot. Vanessa?
That's right. We are on the other side of where this crash happened. We are getting new information about that pilot. We do know that he was quite experienced. He had been doing this for a long time. He did this flight track several times. We're going to go to mass cam shots so you can see this parking lot. What it is we're being told this is a repo lot where cars are just parked here. So the good news is that's why there were no ground injuries, because there was no one inside that repo lot. It's a car repossession lot. So again, we are getting some new information. There were 3 adult males inside of that Piper PA31 twin-engine plane. We know that that pilot taking off at 4:20 instantly he knew something was wrong. According to the mayor, he turned back immediately. He changed his course and he came back. Had he not done that, that plane could have landed on commercial, could have landed on power line, heavily populated areas. But we spoke to Mayor Seiler just a short time ago, and he tells us that it is absolutely a miracle that that pilot landed exactly where he did and that there were no ground injuries. And he says that because of that they do know who the pilot is at this point. Of course, they're trying to get in touch with next of kin, but he says because of his level of experience, this is not a bigger tragedy than it already is. But sadly, 3 lives have been lost. Let's listen into Mayor Jack Seiler.
It's a horrendous scene. It's you get over there and the plane obviously crashed into a lot of cars that were in the lot. Everything went up in flames. I can tell you that I could not be more proud of our firefighters. The response time was incredible, and I think by them getting to this fire quickly, putting it out and stopping the spread of it, probably saved certainly property on the ground and probably some lives on the ground.
So within 1 minute of that plane taking off, there were already calls to 911 saying that there was a massive fire out here. Immediately, Fort Lauderdale Fire Rescue responding and controlling that fire to just this repo yard. They say because of the amount of fuel and the other cars in that lot, this is amazing that it was contained to just that. But of course, as soon as we get more information, we'll bring it to you live. For now, reporting live in Fort Lauderdale, Vanessa Medina, back to you.
All right, Vanessa, you touched on it, just the area that all of this happened. You're talking about commercial and power line, several people near the scene of the point of impact.
Yeah, we've been hearing their stories throughout the afternoon and into the evening. Let's go to Craig Stevens at the news desk with more on their stories. Craig.
Right, Lynn, Mike, for those who have been with us all afternoon since the story first broke during our 4 o'clock newscast. This day and age, everybody with iPhones and iPads, cellular phones, recording devices, we've been getting scores of photos and pieces of video from people who were there in the moments after this plane went down. Here's one such piece of video. Very dramatic, moments after this plane went down. I believe Fort Lauderdale authorities said they first responded about 20 minutes past 4 o'clock this afternoon, thereabouts. And this is likely what they saw when they got there. The plane had come down in this industrial parking lot in a ball of fire. Thick smoke. Lynn, you mentioned the color indicative of the plane being fully loaded with fuel for its journey. We have other still photos as well to share with you. And we also heard from a mechanic in the area who had heard from a coworker of his, a pilot who had been in the area at the time of the crash.
It's like he appeared that he had lost an engine, power to one of the engines, which caused the airplane to go into a roll. And, excuse me, on twin aircraft like that, you have an engine that's critical, as they would, it's aviation term, but basically if you lose that engine, you pretty much have no choice. The airplane's going to do what it wants to do. So unfortunately, it started a roll. There was probably no way the pilot could react to the adverse conditions, and unfortunately, it crashed.
That was the supposition of the mechanic Christopher Schadt and his coworker, a pilot in the area who witnessed this as it unfolded. Here is a look at the type of plane we are talking about, the twin-engine plane, the small craft that went down. And as we reported, we know there were 3 people on board and none of them survived. That's the latest from the news desk. I'm Craig Stevens, 7 News.
All right, Craig, thank you.
Well, we just heard the mayor say that the pilot tried to turn around and maybe avoid populated areas. We're also learning more about the ill-fated flight path.
Chief Meteorologist Phil Farrow has created an animation from the witness accounts and what we at least believe happened after takeoff. Phil?
All right, this is what we know so far. We begin with the weather. Weather was not an issue. The winds were very light, visibility mostly clear, and there was no rain anywhere. Now, based on preliminary data, this is what we know so far. Basically, here is Fort Lauderdale Executive. There is runway 8. Typically, they take off into the wind, and it appears that something must have happened shortly after takeoff. The plane appeared to have veered